All right, hail and welcome everyone to this week's episode of Midgard Musings, and this is episode 4 of the Deity discussion series. If this is your first time watching, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Jesse, and I'm the host here on this channel each and every week. It's usually a once-a-week video I upload, and it's on the subject of Norse heathenry, things of that nature, things that may catch my attention at any given point in time, and I do, as I told you earlier in the video, do a series type thing here once a month. We actually have a couple series that we're going to be starting. This one we've been running now for 4 months, and this is episode 4 of the Deity discussion series. We're going to be starting a series of storytelling type things here in the near future. I'm not sure what the schedule is on that will be, but check out the video playlists for all the previous episodes of the Deity discussion series. This week we'll be talking about Odin. I've been looking forward to this particular episode for quite some time, and I figured that since we are, this is, what is it, December 2nd, I believe, we're getting close to and approaching the Yule season here in the United States, where I'm based out of. So I figured that what better time to talk about the Yule Father, Odin himself, than as we approach Yule. So if you like this video, if you like any other videos, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. Click bell notifications, that way you're notified every time I upload new content. And then down in the description of this video, you'll see all the other ways that you can support this channel. There's a tip jar link to PayPal, which if you feel so inclined to donate, you can do so there. There's a Facebook page down in the description. Hope you guys have liked that page and are following that. There's the Instagram handle down there, which is not too active right now, but hopefully that will change here coming soon. And then there's also merchandise and apparel that you can purchase through Teesprings. All the purchases that are made through there do directly help support this channel, and it gives you guys some cool stuff to wear and show off and stuff to you and your loved ones. We are running a Yule special until December 15th, so be sure to check out that stuff in that specified link down there. It'll say Yule special. So anyways, guys, before we get started with the discussion, let's go ahead and get our incense going. This is a tradition that we have here on the channel every week. If it's, like I said, if it's your first time. And then we also light a candle just to give us a little bit of ambiance. All right. So the Deity discussion series, which, like I said, if this is your first time watching, is basically a discussion topic, topic of discussion of a specific deity in the Norse pantheon. Again, this week is Odin. A lot of us know quite a bit about him, given some of the historical texts that we do have. But the purpose of the series that I run here on this channel is not really to get too much into the historical aspects of the deities or the gods or goddesses, so much as it is to speak a bit about what we do know of them, and then have a little bit of feedback from our viewers, from everybody that's watching down here live on Facebook, just to kind of get a feel of what their own, my own, and your own specific dealings with each deity may be. So we are going to talk just a little bit about Odin, and from the historical aspect. All of the other greater details and out there's information readily available out there through books, the Poetic Edda, Prose Edda, some of the sagas, well, all the sagas really. And there's tons of material online, even here on YouTube. Dr. Jackson Crawford is a great resource when it comes to Norse language and myth. Definitely suggest that channel for you to check out and follow. But anyways, what we're here for today. So Odin is the chief of the Aesir gods. He rules in Asgard, the realm or the enclosure of the gods, and his hall, or his where he presides over in Asgard, is Valhalla, or Valhall. And he is the I want to say it was the great-grandson. Again, some of the historical stuff I'm a little bit rusty on, because this is not what the purpose of this video is going to be. I believe he's the great-grandson of the giant Ymir. And Ymir was forged, or formed, if you will, from the fires of Muspel Muspelheim, and the ice of Niflheim melting and creating Ymir. He's the first of the giants, of the giant race, or the Jotnar. And from from the body of Ymir, some relations with him, with his own self, sweat dripping out from him, his legs mating, all these different things came about. Now Odin is his descendant along down the line. One of Ymir's sons came from the salt lick that was licked, and I think it was 3 days of licking this cow, this great cosmic cow, licked the salt lick and created Buri, who was the first of the race of the gods. And then Buri had a son with the giantess Besla, and then from that union came Bor, and Bor is Odin's sire. So Odin, Vili, and Ve are the three gods that came from Bor. So, long story short, Odin is one of the chief gods who is responsible for the creation of the first man and the first woman, Osk and Emla, which we'll probably be talking about in future videos later on down the line. But Odin gave to Osk and Emla breath. Vili and Ve gave to them their own respective things, which if you look through the lore, you'll find what those things are. Like I said, that's not really what we're talking about today. But Odin gave the first man and the first woman breath. Odin is considered a god associated with many things. He's a god of war. He's a god of death. He's a god of poetry. He's a god of magic. Okay, he in the lore he did things to gain wisdom and gain knowledge that involved sacrificing of himself multiple times. He hung himself from the world tree Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights. No relief, no food, no drink, and hung himself on that tree for that length of time to discover the runes, which are used to this day for divination and magical purposes by Vitkis and Seidkona and Volvas and whatnot nowadays. Basically the Norse witch or the Norse sorcerers or sorceresses. To gain that knowledge, he hung himself from Yggdrasil. For the wisdom that he was seeking from the giant Mimir, he sacrificed an eye. He plucked out his own eye and dropped it into Mimir's well to gain wisdom. He has gone on many different journeys himself. He's a wanderer. He's stolen mead from giants to understand and to learn poetry. So there's so many things that Odin encompasses as a god and as a figure in Norse myth. I'm going to read a little bit from the Poetic Edda just to give you some of his names that he is known by. The name Odin itself can be roughly translated as the Mad One, or the Furious One, even. He's very what's the word I'm looking for? His mind, his wit he's kind of a loose cannon, if you will. But if we go to the poem Grimnismal in the Poetic Edda, somewhere right around stanza 46, and this is the Poetic Edda as translated by Dr. Jackson Crawford, which I highly suggest you guys pick up. So if you're reading, or if you have the Poetic Edda and you're reading this, some of these words, some of these descriptive names that Odin gives himself, or that he's known by, some of these may be a little bit different depending on the translation. But he says, I've called myself Grim, I've called myself Wanderer, Warrior, and Helmet Wearer, Famed One and Third One, Thunder and Wave, Hell Blind and One Eye, Truth and Swift and True Father, Battle Merry, Battle Stirrer, Curse Eye and Fire Eye, Evil Doer, Spellcaster, Masked and Shadowed Faced, Fool and Wise Man, Long Hat and Long Beard, Victory Father and War Ready, AllFather, War Father, Rope Rider, and Hanged God. I've never been known by just one name since I first walked among men. The rest of the poem basically continues with some more names. I'm not going to take up too much time, but you can look up the poem Grimnismal. There's PDFs and stuff online you can find. just to see how many different names Odin is known by. And why is he known by some of these names? It's easy to see why he would be called Rope Rider and Hanged God for the previous instance that I mentioned where he hung himself from Yggdrasil. War Father, AllFather, War Ready, Battle Stirrer, Battle Merry. Odin loves conflict. Not only does he love conflict, but he loves to be the inciter of conflict. He loves to stir the pot, if you will. And in my experience with working with Odin and walking with Odin, in my practices, his purposes, his desires to do things is very one-sided. He will help. Okay, if you summon him in ritual, if you work with him or you invoke him in ritual, at least in my practice anyway, when I've invoked Odin in ritual, he's very bold and he will make himself known, but it always comes at a price. And it's a very heavy price, and it's a very costly price. And quite often it comes in a way that seems with a bit of trickery or a bit of malice or a bit of guile, because he has his own agenda. And what agenda that is to, he's always worried about the final battle, right? The Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods, when it has been prophesied to him by the Volva in Voluspa that he will die in Ragnarok. Many of the gods will die in Ragnarok, Odin included. Fenrir will consume Odin, and no matter what Odin does, no matter what Odin can do, that is his fate. But yet he tries to give himself the best chance, the best shot at defying that fate, if you will. And it comes at any cost for him, which is why he is a inciter of war, which is why he wants to have those in battle die, so that way his Valkyries can take these fallen slain to his hall, to Valhalla, to prepare for Ragnarok and become one of the Einherjar, and be one of those forces that fight against Fenrir and Loki and all the giants at Ragnarok. So his force, his presence is it comes with a price. The things that he gives, the things that he does for those that work with him, does come with a heavy price. Now, I know myself personally, when I said working with Odin, especially in my work with the runes, trying to understand and learn the runes, that was a very taxing and very, it cost a lot for me. Now, whatever everybody else is working, their workings with Odin may be a little bit different. But one thing I did want to sort of focus on was this name AllFather. This name AllFather that we all typically will refer to Odin as, the wandering one, one eye. But AllFather seems to be one that comes up a lot for many heathens nowadays, and it seems to be a name that we like to give him because we feel like we want to make heathenry an all-inclusive thing. We want people to feel welcome in this path, and it doesn't matter that you are maybe not Norse or you don't have any sort of Northern European, ancestry or descendants to come back from, or to come, to back down your ancestral line. Maybe you don't have, Northern European bloodlines or whatever. We want to make everyone feel welcome. So we always say, Odin is the father of all. He's not the some father, right? He's the AllFather. And it's interesting to note that the name AllFather, at least in the old text, translates as AllFolder, which that word, folder, all is pretty self-explanatory. Could mean all of, or everything, or the sum of, right? But the word folder is possibly not the actual word, or at least the Old Norse word for father. The Old Norse word for father would be fadir. But in the old text, which was written in Old Norse, it comes across as AllFolder. And it's an interesting thing. There's going to be a card up in the title of this, or up in the, it's going to be an annotated card. I'm going to link it down in the description too. Check out Dr. Jackson Crawford's video about that particular thing. Because, and I've thought this for a long time, even before I thought saw that video. And the fact is that Odin, even though him and his brothers are the reason in lore, they are the ones that sort of started the race of mankind, right? With Osk and Embla, the first man and the first woman. He's certainly not the father of all mankind in the sense that he hasn't sired mankind. If anything, that title or that name would be more fitting for Heimdall, because he is the one who, disguised in the form of Rig, came to Midgard and slept with 3 classes of mankind to produce the thralls, the middle class, and the nobility class. So if anything, if we wanted to test any of the gods as the father of mankind, so to speak, then Heimdall, to me, would be more fitting to that. And he was also not even the father of all of the gods. Obviously, he's the father of Thor. He's the father of Balder. I want to say he's the father of Tyr. I could be wrong with that, but again, he is actually, he has children or offspring for sure, but he's definitely not the father of all the gods and not the father of all mankind. Later on, in some of the other texts, that word AllFather had been changed, and some of its history or roots of that word could definitely make the argument that it definitely meant father, not just what the... Now that word folder, what I was trying to get to earlier, was that it possibly comes from an Old English word, which means an orderer or setter of things, right? So in that sense, Odin fits more of that description, maybe more accurately. He's the setter of all things. He's the orderer of all things. He has his hand in all things to order them in the way that he would want to see them go. Now, of course, the name AllFather could probably be attested to during the Christianization of Northern Europe and during that whole transition or the conversion period, like between the 9 and 1200s, I believe it was, like what we call the Viking Age, to get the pagan community at large to sort of transition over to Christianity. Being that Christianity has a father god, figure, they could have maybe had some influence in referring to their chief god, their primary god, as Odin, as being the father god and the father figure, and therefore he is, the father of all. That's possible, I would say, but take that as you will. My whole thing with Odin and working with him is be careful. Definitely know what you're getting into when you work with him in ritual. And realize that he will help, but the relationship that one should have with Odin should be a cautionary one, I feel. And again, this is my own take. This is not a, do this because this is the way to heathen, this is the way to do it. That's not what this channel's about. That's not what I'm here to do. It's to sort of just share and invite people to share their thoughts and their own feelings about it as well. But so, like I said, this video could go on for probably hours, because we're talking about one of the gods of the Norse pantheon that we have the most amount of information about. Definitely check all those resources out for yourself, do the research, learn things yourself about these gods. But I'm definitely interested to hear what your take is on Odin and how you have felt in working with him, if you have. So leave a comment down below in the comments section. Be sure to, again, check out all of the ways that you can support Midgard Musings in the description. And if you haven't already, right here, you'll see that floating Midgard Musings logo. It's here at the end of every video. It's really easy. Once you click on that logo, you're a subscriber. And then if you want to, and you won't ever want to be missing notifications, click that bell notification that appears next to the subscribe button, and you'll be notified every time I upload new content. Be sure to check out some of the other related content on this channel. And we will see you guys next week. Everyone that's watching down here on Facebook, stick around because I want to see what everyone's comments are. Thank you all so much for watching this week's episode of the Deity Discussion Series about Odin. Hail, and thank you.